Hey everyone, and welcome to 1.21 Jigowatts. I am Peter, that is Connor, and this is our weekly trailer talk show where we talk about some of the biggest movie trailers that came out this week. And at the end of the video, we will pick our favourite of the week. That's what we're going to do. We have 6 this week to discuss, which is a kind of a normal amount. The first episode of this we did a couple of weeks ago had 17, which is now that is the record and the benchmark to which all future episodes will be set.
Yeah, I don't know if we're ever going to beat that. Except maybe Comic-Con weekend.
Even Comic-Con.
If there's ever going to be a weekend that does it, though, it's going to be that one.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. That weekend that happened, it was just the stars aligned. There was nothing special about that week. It just happened.
It did just happen, which is
bizarre.
kind of a scary thought.
So it could happen again. So yeah, we'll get right into it. So probably the biggest trailer of the week is Creed 2. The sequel to Creed, the spin-off of Rocky. Obviously Sylvester Stallone's still in there, Michael B. Jordan. This one, of course, has Ivan Drago back himself, Dolph Lundgren. He's in there. His son, I think, is the opponent in the boxing match itself. And of course, this is relevant because in Rocky 4, Ivan Drago killed Apollo Creed.
Sure.
You've not seen these movies, no?
No. We've been over this before.
So this is personal. So his dad was killed by this other guy's dad in the ring. So he's training, and Rocky's like, "No, this is a bad idea. I don't know if you're ready for this." Oh, I need to do this. Well, that's what your dad said, and he wound up dead. In the ring. So maybe this is not the greatest idea. And you know what's funny actually about this trailer? The thing that caught me off guard the most is that when I saw Creed, and I like Creed a lot. I might even like it more than any of the Rocky films. It's that damn good. But what caught me off is that when I first saw that, Tessa Thompson's in that movie. And that was probably the first thing I ever saw Tessa Thompson in. So when I saw that movie, I didn't know who she was. She was just in it. So when she popped up in this trailer for the second one, I went, oh yeah, Tessa Thompson was in this. And now she's in everything. And like, now she's a name. Now they can put her name in the poster and it'll mean something.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, look at that. So, that's cool. So as someone who's not seen Creed or any of the Rocky films, did this trailer do anything remotely for you?
Not particularly, I'll be honest. It's a perfectly fine trailer. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I can't critique it that much. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But I don't think it does anything to get anyone new.
That is fair. I think it's a fine trailer. I don't think it's a particularly good trailer, particularly bad trailer. It's kind of just a typical, reason to fight boxing movie trailer. There's not really much more to it.
I think most of what it's doing plays on your attachment to the franchise.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Like, there's points where, you see the Drago name on the back of the hoodie, right? And I'm like, okay, I get what it's doing there. I get, this is exciting for people who care about these. To me, it does nothing, personally, but I understand what it's doing. Unless
I didn't catch it, I think it's interesting that we don't see Dolph Lundgren in the trailer itself.
No, I don't remember seeing him.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. Also, I'm glad it ended up being his son, because I didn't actually... I knew it was going to be Drago that was involved, but I didn't actually know if it was going to be like him himself fighting Michael B. Jordan.
Fighting the old dude.
Yeah. I mean, hey, Dolph Lundgren's a pretty tough, mean-looking old dude. Like,
he is, but he's getting on in years.
Yeah, I'm sure he's in his 60s by now, I think. But hey, so... yeah, I think it looks fine. I hope it's good. I'm a little concerned that Coogler's not the one directing it, because obviously that's a big reason why. Because obviously he's a very busy man now. He just did Black Panther. Marvel, want him to do Black Panther 2. I don't know what his next project is off the top of my head, but I know he's got something lined up. So he's a busy dude, and he's a great director. He's actually someone that he's never failed to make a really solid film, and I feel like he's one to watch going forward. So hopefully this is a solid follow-up to the first film, and it doesn't, because I think the first one impressed me because the entire sort of narrative point of the first film for the character was that, because obviously going into okay, do we need a spin-off to Rocky? Is this just kind of forced because we want to continue the franchise in some way? And he's an illegitimate son of Apollo Creed, and the whole point of the film is that he wants to prove that he's worth existing, and it kind of ties into the fact that it's a spin-off. And
it's very meta, isn't it?
And the film itself kind of proves, no, this may actually be better than all those other films. This is better than Rocky. And
fair enough.
It's like, oh, that's actually a really smart meta-narrative point, on top of just the core character arc, which worked really well. I just hope that some of that momentum can stay into this one.
No, I hope it's good for the people. I doubt I'll watch it. I've got personally, I have just no real interest in the franchise. But I mean, I hope it's good for the people who enjoyed the last one.
Also, on the subject of the first one, I'll just say the moment when the Rocky theme, the Flying High Now the brass kicks in is one of the best moments in a movie where the main theme kicks in.
I will say it's a fantastic theme.
It's a fantastic theme, but it goes the whole film without it because it's just Rocky's theme. It's not his theme, right? Yeah. It's not there at all. And until there's a moment, it's one of those badass moments where he just says this one line and it just kicks in and it's like, yes, do it.
Does it do the slow intro as well?
Yeah, it does a slow intro. It's just the one instrument. Yeah, just yeah. It's good stuff. But so hopefully Creed 2 is good. It definitely doesn't look bad. The trailer itself is just kind of fine. It's doing your typical sports movie trailer.
Yeah, it is.
Next up, we got a trailer for Robert Zemeckis' new film. We actually just talked about this being announced and its release date being announced a week or two ago in the movie news. This is Welcome to Marwen, and it's based loosely on a true story. It seems like, if I remember correctly from when we talked about it in the news, the incident that gave him trauma and gave him PTSD is different, but what it's based on is this character, this person who kind of got through his trauma by building like miniature like towns and stuff in his backyard, and he got through all that. I think it was like a Civil War reenactment or something like that. He sort of built all these little miniatures and reenacted. Yeah, right. Here it's Steve Carell. It's directed by Robert Zemeckis, and he was basically a victim of a hate crime. A group of neo-Nazis attacked him and left him so injured because he used to be an artist, but now he can't. He can barely write his name now, so now he has to just use like models and toys to express himself. And we read about this in the news, and I was like, "Oh, this sounds fine. It sounds like sort of mildly sappy, but probably really well done sort of tone that Zemeckis can strike because he's very good at that. Sort of doing it a little bit sappy, but not too sappy." What I was not expecting. What I was not expecting was a lot of this movie to like him fantasizing the toys coming to life and basically doing what he wishes he could in the situation. Because there's a scene in this where he's forced to go to the court scene where his the attackers are being sentenced.
Yeah, and you can see he's bobbing his knee and it cuts down. There's just one of the little dolls next to his knee.
And it turns into, and it's this weird kind of like, obviously it's CGI, but it's kind of made it look like action figures, where it turns into this action figure like of him saying get down, and he flips the table and he starts shooting all the Nazis, and it's like, this is way more inventive and wacky than I thought it was going to be. But
I had no idea it was going to be like this.
But it does seem like at its core, there's a really strong kind of heart to it. Do you know what it reminds me of in tone a little bit? Lars and the Real Girl.
Yeah, okay, I can see it.
Yeah, you've got all these people around him because he's like these are all the women who protect the doll version of me, and they're all based on the women in his life, his neighbour, people he works with, and there's this new neighbour that seems to be like the kind of love interest for the film, and like we see all these, and it keeps cutting between them in real life, and then there's the dolls, and they're these badass fighters, and they're all shooting Nazis, and it's like, because I laughed at the end because the last little tag at the end is like the love interest is like, oh, that was very violent, but at least all the Nazis are dead. It's just like, so it's very timely, of course, because we're talking a lot about Nazis these days, unfortunately.
Can't believe that this is timely in 2018.
I know. Honestly, this looks great.
This looks fantastic. I was so surprised by this because it started. It was the dolls. I was like, "Oh, this is that one we just talked about." Okay, and then it did the first bit of the dolls. I was like, "Oh, it's doing this."
Yeah, and obviously the first time I'm like, "Oh, maybe it's just a couple of scenes in the movie." But then there's so much of this trailer is various situations of when it switches between. There's a great moment at the end actually where it's the doll at first and there's like the animation and it falls onto like a spike or something like that, but it actually cuts to the actual doll just like landing in real life, and it just sort of splits in part because it looks like it's going to be really gory. Like you're going to see them like get impaled and there's going to be like fake blood spurting out, but it cuts to real life and the doll just splits in half. And it's like, oh, they're going to have so much fun with the transitions here. There's going to be...
This is so inventive.
But what's cool about it is that it's all about how he feels and how he's escaping into this fantasy to try and...
coping mechanism.
Yeah, it's his coping mechanism. This looks legitimately fantastic. I did not expect to be so hyped on this movie when we read the description. I thought it sounded fine. It sounded like something that'd probably be really good. But this looks great.
No, it's funny. Again, obviously, this is holiday season. And we said at the time, it'll probably be sappy, a bit of Oscar bait, right?
Yeah.
It definitely is. Like, it's definitely going for that tone still, I think, with the performance. I think Carell's pushing for that actor nom with this one. And he might just get it if he can pull it off.
He might deserve it. Zemeckis might deserve a directing nod for this. This is legitimately really interesting. Obviously all the trailers are all linked in the description. You can all check them out for yourself. This was fantastic. I did not expect this to be as good as it was, because I actually, because I always, the day of we record this, I go through the trailers and like get them all for the week, and obviously every so often there'll be a trailer that I care about in the first place, where as soon as it pops up during the week, I'll watch it then. But most of them I won't see till the day we record on the Friday. But so I didn't watch this one because I was like, oh yeah, that's that Marwen one that Zemeckis did. I didn't, I wasn't interested enough to say, oh, I'll check it out now. No, I'll see it on Friday. I'll just do it when I'm doing the rest of my trailers. I'm like, no, this was great.
Yeah, no, this one I didn't even realize it was. I didn't remember the name from a week or two ago, and I clicked on it. And I was like, oh, Corel Dolls. Okay, it's this one.
Yeah.
And then it surprised the hell out of me.
Yeah, it looks touching. It looks heartfelt, but it looks really fun and inventive at the same time.
Yeah, definitely. It's very unique.
Yeah, all aboard the Welcome to Marwen train. It looks really, really good. I'm so glad that he's not doing his full animated stuff anymore. I mean, technically some of this stuff is animated, but this is a much better use of it than his Polar Express.
This is a great narrative purpose, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the thing, because I think... Because I was funny, I actually thought of Sucker Punch when I was watching this. Not in a bad way, just in the sense that this is the good example of Sucker Punch, where it's going to be clear what's real and what's not, and it's going to all have a purpose to what he's really going through. Whereas with Sucker Punch, of course, they had like layers of dream worlds where you weren't really sure which one was the real one.
Is that what happened in that movie? I never had the misfortune of having to watch it.
Oh, it's absolute garbage. It's like everything, like almost all the film takes place in like a fantasy within a fantasy, so nothing really matters. Not really. Like, whereas this, it's clear even from the trailer, okay, what represents what and how this is used to follow, to advance his character. It looks great. Anyway, so I mean, if anything else is competing with us at the end of the show for best trailer of the week,
we might have given it away a little, mightn't we?
Yeah. But anyway, next up, we had a trailer. This is a Netflix movie called How It Ends. This is a sort of start of a post-apocalyptic or disaster movie where Forrest Whitaker is mad at his son-in-law for taking his, moving his daughter to a different city. So that was her idea. That's just kind of the start of the trailer. But he's visiting the in-laws at the start of the movie, and this is from the trailer, of course.
Yeah.
And then this disaster hits. They lose all communication with her. She's in like another city across the country. So the father-in-law, Forrest Whitaker, and him, okay, we're going on a road trip, even though it's like chaos out there, and it's them bonding, like fighting off bad guys, trying to get to the daughter and make sure she's safe.
It's funny, for a lot of it, with the way the daughter was being treated, it felt like a disaster movie meets Taken. Kind of had that sort of vibe going to it.
I guess I can see. I never got the idea that for me, like, she was just either she was dead because the natural disaster that happened just killed her there and then, or it just wiped out the communication, so she's just sitting around at her house, just kind of being fine. Yeah. And there's a shot in the trailer later on where it looks like she's running out and saying, "Hey, honey," and I thought, okay, she's probably alive then.
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't have put that in your trailer, but whatever. So this is a Netflix movie. This is coming out next
July
month.
13th.
There you go. That was the date.
It just popped up on the side of me.
There you go. And it's I like Forrest Whitaker. I mean, that's the movie itself. It looks like it might be an okay, like, put in the background B movie.
Looks a bit generic, though.
Yeah, it looks generic. Nothing about it's popping and saying, "Oh, this is something you have to watch," but it looks very inoffensive.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe just, if you can't sleep one night.
Yeah, you put it on. It's that kind of movie, but it looks of it. It looks like it's playing a lot of similar beats. The father and son-in-law kind of bonding. They kind of hate each other, but they're going to bond because they both love the same, the woman, daughter / wife, and so it seems to be playing with those things. And the son-in-law has never used a gun before, so clearly he's going to have this learning experience, and they're going to bond over the fact that he teaches him how to fight and so on.
Yeah,
so.
It looks like, okay, I get it. I see what it's doing. It looks fine. Yeah. Definitely not something I'm going to rush out and watch, but hey, I might stick it on because...
Which, sadly, is like 90% of Netflix movies. They don't look bad, they just look okay.
Yeah, I've watched my fair share at this point.
Don't get me wrong, there's the odd gem where it's like, oh, The Babysitter's really freaking good. Like, but for the most part, it's like, they're okay. Yeah,
I mean, the standouts are pretty, from Reputation beats a No Nation.
Not seen it myself, but yeah, that's a good buzz.
Okja was pretty well received.
It was good. I don't know if...
I know, but it didn't feel like a Netflix movie. It's like, no, okay, this is
sure. Yeah.
It stood out in that sense. and of course the babysitter, like I say. I think those are the three that spring to mind as above the cut.
Oh, people love the Gerald's Game.
Oh, I forgot about that one, actually.
People like that a lot. I had some issues with the ending, but I can see why, like, I liked a lot of it, and I can see why people loved it. Interestingly, the tall man from Twin Peaks was in that, in a small role. Oh. And when I saw him, I went, "Oh, it's him!" And I got all excited.
I'd love to enjoy more Netflix movies, but it is very much, here's your direct-to-video dumping ground. And some of it's going to be pretty good, it's alright, some of it's going to be shite.
What's funny, though, is I don't necessarily think it feels like direct-to-video a lot of the time. It feels like a certain type of movie that would be in the theaters as well. Like, it often has been. Like, all the romantic comedies feel like movies that, still going to the theaters for a long time were only in the theaters. Just now they can be on Netflix instead. It's this weird niche they've got.
I definitely agree on the rom-coms, definitely. I feel you don't get as many of them released in the theaters anymore.
That's fair.
You get some with the biggest names, don't get me wrong, but I feel like I guess they just don't perform as well in the theaters anymore.
I mean, it makes sense when you think about it. When you think about the target audience for rom-coms, they're the sort of person who would probably just want to watch it on Netflix.
They're the sort of person who wants to sit on the couch with a glass of wine.
Sure.
But that's the audience for your rom-com, right?
Yeah. I also, for some reason, I think of teenagers first, though. So maybe I wasn't going straight to a glass of wine. I mean, what a glass of wine, but I don't know if they're going to have a glass of wine in front of them.
I feel like more, 30s women for rom-coms.
30s, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Truth is, they probably appeal to all sorts of ages, but
they probably do. I think that was my first thought, but I'm sure both sets. Yeah.
So yeah, that's how it ends. And speaking of comedies on Netflix, we had another Netflix movie this week. It's called Late Father. Couple of big leads in this. We got Kelsey Grammer as the dad, and we have Kristen Bell as the daughter. She's getting married. Her dad, a strange dad, shows up on the day of the wedding. She's not seen him in years, but then the wedding falls through, and she ends up taking her dad on the cruise that was supposed to be her honeymoon, whilst drunk. She doesn't mean to do this, and then she wakes up and realises, shit, we're on a cruise together. And Seth Rogen's there in a small role, but it seems to be this father-daughter bonding kind of, like, they hate each other, but they're going to have fun adventures on the cruise. And by the end of the movie, again, this actually falls into exactly what I was saying with the rom-coms. It's not exactly a rom-com per se, but it's got the exact same tone as one of those.
It does. This looks kind of fun, though, and I'm not going to lie, I'm a sucker. I really like Kristen Bell, so...
I like both Kristen Bell and Kelsey Grammer.
No, I like Kelsey Grammer well enough as well, don't be wrong, but... this is one I can see myself checking out for sure. Just, I see, one, Tuesday evening or something. Yeah, go on then. That'll go on. Yeah, it
looks kind of fine but not good, or good but not great. It's thoroughly in that range of
like a 6 to 7 sort of range. That's early August. I think that one comes out.
So tossellas and scrambled eggs. Got to make a Frasier reference before we move on, because Kelsey Grammer.
Yeah.
Alright, so next up we had Reprisal, which is the latest movie in Bruce Willis' I Don't Care About My Acting Career Anymore tour, where he is phoning it in so hard.
This was such a boring trailer.
It was a really boring trailer. It's Bruce Willis and Frank Grillo in an action thriller about... He's kind of under suspicion for all these bank heists reasons, and him and Bruce Willis team up to try and stop the bank heist.
Two dudes with some guns.
Yes.
There's your trailer.
Pretty much.
There's your movie, frankly.
Yeah, it looks like this looks like a direct-to-video action movie to me. It just happens to have someone who at least was a big star.
Yeah, it does this really horrible blur focus effect on on a lot of the shots where the edges are out of focus for whatever reason, and it has a really horrible look to it. It just looks cheap.
Yeah, no, it does. This was a quick paycheck for the bigger actors involved. Absolutely, I have no interest in watching this ever.
God no.
It looks really, really rough. So I'm just hoping that Bruce Willis is saving all of his energy for Glass, where he doesn't phone it in, because that'll be a good movie.
Kind of has to be if it's all on his performance. Or
well,
a large part of it is.
Well, a third of it is. It's a threesome movie.
It is, but if he phones it in, it kind of all falls flat, right?
I'm hoping that,
someone carries him a bit.
Yeah,
gives him a slap. Like, come on, do some goddamn work. Earn your money.
It's also maybe the biggest movie he's been in a while, so hopefully that gives him a bit of... bit of a push.
Bigger paycheck is what you're saying.
Yes, so maybe that'll give him the nudge to give a shit and actually put in the acting effort.
Yeah.
Because he's been throwing it in for a while now. It's actually kind of sad to see. Because he lasted for so long. Like, when all the other action stars from the 80s and 90s, you know, went to, you know, direct-to-video hell, or, you know, their careers slowed down and changed, he still had a really good career for a long time.
He did, yeah.
So it's a shame. But that's called Reprisal. So there you go. And then the last trailer this week, much like Welcome to Marwen, this was one that we talked about in the news, the movie news, a couple of weeks ago, with the news of Orion Classics becoming a new thing that we're going to, just a distributor basically, they're going to pick up movies, lower budget movies, genre films, and release them. And this is the first movie they're releasing. It's Domestics.
How much did you enjoy seeing the Orion Classics logo?
I did enjoy it. There's nostalgia, because I think of two movies. Obviously, there's other ones that pops up on, but the two movies I think of, funnily enough, are The Terminator and RoboCop. Which amuses me because it's, you know, Terminator and RoboCop. That's a weird pair to have both of those under your label, but yeah. So this is a kind of another post-apocalyptic type movie. It's kind of the early days of the post-apocalypse where all of the outlaws and so forth are just kind of starting to, like, you know, band up, and there's a lot of regular people still around, but they, like, you know, it's dangerous to move around. But, you know, Taylor Hoechlin and his wife.
It's Superman and Lois Lane.
Why, who's his wife?
Kate Bosworth, isn't it?
Oh, it's the shit Lois Lane. Sure.
Yeah, but I just because.
Okay, yeah,
it's there.
She's an awful Lois Lane.
Yeah, she's not very good. I'm just saying, it's there to be made.
So it's a road trip movie in the post-apocalypse where they're going. I think it's her mother who's sick or something like that. They need to get to her.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of you know, typical kind of. The Road / The Last of Us / you know, they're hiding in, like, convenience stores away from, like, bad guys with masks and guns on, and very typical. What's interesting to me about this one is that obviously Orion Classics, it's like, okay, they're doing these low budget genre things. This might be kind of your direct to video schlock, and it kind of is that. But I think it kind of works as that. I think for what this is, it looks perfectly fine.
Yeah, I thought the second half of the trailer picked up once we got on the road trip and saw it. I thought the first half was a lot of exposition. It was,
sure, yeah.
Oh, the world ended, you know, this happened, and we split into these groups, and it went through every single one of the groups. And then there's us, and then, you know, and I was like, okay, you just give me a lot of information here. Yeah. But once we got to the road trip, all the gun stuff going on, and just some of the action, it looked a bit, maybe fun.
And even a little bit the comedy was working. Oh my god, I'm forgetting his name. The Wire, Lost, Fringe... all these shows that I love. You know, the guy in the convenience store, the guy who says, "I want you to invite you to dinner," and in the middle of this action, kind of like they're hiding from the bad guys. You know, he's there. I like him. There was some humor from him and his wife, and like how they were kind of just being around them. And then there was just some of the action stuff looked fun. There was like a plow. That was, like, you know, going down the street, and, like, you know, that was like flipping and stuff. So, you know, there's some action in there. This reminds me, and I kind of like this, of like a cheap action movie from the 80s. Like I can almost imagine, like,
it's the post Mad Max era. Yeah,
I can almost imagine renting a VHS from Blockbuster in the 80s, or in my case the early 90s when I was growing up, and getting this trailer and being like, oh, that looks kind of fun, and like wanting to see it. This feels like that to me. It's just made now.
It's funny because obviously with Fury Road came out a few years ago, we did get a bit of a resurgence in the Mad Max style of movies. Yeah,
and this is even that Mad Maxy because it's still just regular streets and shit.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, you know, in the sense that we've had a lot of those sorts of trailers over this year that we've covered, and most of them look pretty shite. Whereas this, why I say Mad Max, it's got the quirky gangs, that sort of thing, right?
Yeah, this looks like... I mean, it could end up being tedious to watch, but I think this is one we might check out. And it's quite soon, actually. It's later this month, I think.
July 4th, I believe.
Was it? Okay.
Well, they say July 4th holiday. In theaters and on demand, 29th of June. So yeah, the week before.
I kind of want to check this one out. I want to see what this line of films might be like, and I think... this to me looks like fun B-movie schlock. This to me might end up being like a great 6 or 7. Not anything higher than that, but it might be a really good 6. Does that make sense? It could be a lot of
fun. Yeah. No, there's two types of 6. It's like it was all right. You know, it was kind of good. Or there's it's really fun, but it's not a very good movie necessarily, but it's really fun. Yeah.
I think it might fall into that. Now, admittedly, the pacing could be horrible in the movie itself or whatever, but I'm getting that vibe. I'm getting the vibe that it could be that. So that's the domestics, and if that ends up being fun, and that's kind of this lane, they're going to do like small movies like this. I'm happy that there's someone pumping these. A24 is the prestigious small movie. Orion Classics is going to be the schlocky small movies.
We got room for both.
We do. I'm always up for more small movies because Hollywood's so obsessed with the big $200 million tent poles, and yeah, they can be good, but they can take more risks with these little films. You get these risky little things, experimental movies. So, but yeah, so that's the last trailer of the week. So we now will pick our favourite of the week if it wasn't obvious.
It's Welcome to Marwen, isn't it? Because it just is.
It's Welcome to Marwen, but I'm looking forward to Creed 2. Not necessarily because of the trailer, though, admittedly. Domestics looks kind of fun, and that's probably the standouts of the week.
Yeah, Reprisal clearly being the worst trailer.
Yes, that was by far the worst, no question. But Welcome to Marwen. So, like I say, all the links to these trailers are in the description. Also in the description, you'll find a link to our Patreon page, patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. It's worth checking that out. You get some bonuses and stuff if you want to sign up and obviously contribute, and that helps us out a lot. It's $1 more than what we'd get from you if you watched ads on every video you watched over a month. However, obviously, if you don't want to do that, supporting us, you can watch the ads, you can like, subscribe, comment, all those stuff. All of it helps. But one of the things we want to do at the end of these shows is always promote one other thing that we do. We mentioned the movie news, so we won't necessarily mention that because that's kind of a sister show to this one. But I think I will mention coming up actually this weekend, probably just a day after this goes up, is the Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom review on 1.21 Jigowatts, which will be me and Matt talking about that film. So you can look forward to that, and we're going to have a discussion about it.
Matt is bound to be extremely passionate.
Matt is bound to really overrate it, no matter what.
Yeah. I mean, this is a man who had Kong Skull Island in his top 5 last year.
This is this year's Kong Skull Island for him. I'm feeling it.
I think we knew that for a long time, right?
Yeah. I have seen the film already, so I actually already can almost see where the conversation is going to go and what he's going to love and what he's going to discount.
I haven't seen it, but I just know there'll be problems, and he won't care because there'll be some giant dinosaurs.
Yes.
And he'll be down.
Matt is the resident 9-year-old in a grown man's body, so that'll be the discussion for that. But that will be going up sometime on Sunday. You can look forward to it. So yeah. But hey, so that is the show. So yeah, by all means, get us on the Twitters at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. I'm at Wibble89 on Twitter. Connor's at ConnorRyan94. There you go. Yeah, it's because Tim doesn't have the number. I forget sometimes which one of you has the number and which one doesn't.
Yeah.
But hey, so that's the show. That's trailer talk this week. So thank you very much for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching movies, guys, and we will see you next time.